way. CNN reports the SpaceX Dragon successfully docked with the International Space Station on Wednesday. The unmanned spacecraft lifted off from Cape Canaveral, Florida on Sunday night. Engine trouble did not prevent the Dragon from remaining on course. NASA Administrator Charles Bolden called the mission a critical event in spaceflight. Jordan Hooker, IRN, USA News.
A Maine town that's begun naming dozens of alleged customers of a dance instructor arrested on prostitution charges is the latest community to join a trend in law enforcement, shaming those accused of paying for sex. Kennebunk is part of a new web database tracking more than 870 municipalities that have launched initiatives targeting men who buy sex. It's part of a 4-year study funded by the National Institute of Justice. With IRN USA News, I'm Sean Scott Ferguson.
If you smell what the Rock is cooking.
WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Tell me he didn't just say that.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
The Tower of Power, too sweet to be sour, funky like a monkey, ooh yeah.
And now, here's your host of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon Derry.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
Really? Yeah!
Hello and welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you. We have a jam-packed show to say the least. Found out just before getting on the air today we're going to be cutting off a little early due to high school football. A little bit of a rescheduling that occurred, so we'll be off at about 12:50, 12:55, somewhere in there. Ton of stuff to talk about. This show's going to move about as fast as a luchador on Stacker 2 energy pills. I'm telling you, it's crazy. Let's get right into the news and notes. Of course, from this past Monday Night Raw, CM Punk attacking a fan at the end of Raw. Of course, Punk involved with an incident with a fan at the end of the TV show on Raw. Punk going into the crowd after avoiding Ryback's finisher. And, of course, trying to get away from John Cena as well. Vince McMahon, as he was addressing Punk backhanded a fan who had a camera and then turned around and shoved the man. Of course, there were other fans who were trying to push Punk down the stairs and kind of clipping at Punk's knee as he's trying to focus on Vince addressing him, and an innocent fan ended up getting attacked. That was obviously a huge story over the course of the week. We've gotten bits and pieces of it up on the Facebook page, WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly. Also, a lot of stuff behind the scenes with WWE. Brian Gewirtz, so let's just say he's not getting the last laugh. He's been removed from his position as the top writer of WWE Raw. Eric Pankowski taken over as the most powerful non-McMahon family member involved in the writing process. Gewirtz, of course, has been under a lot of scrutiny for being more involved with the comedy writing as opposed to developing storylines. I know I've criticized him on numerous occasions on this show, and it's finally starting to come to a head after a week ago's ratings being as low as they've been in years, at only about a 2.5 when Raw's used to being in the 3s and 4s. And McMahon, very livid in the backstage area, demanding results or resignations, and announcing this removal of Gewirtz's position as the head writer of Raw. And since he's been a top trusted guy for a long time, that's obviously huge news. Pankowski, of course, his replacement, was hired in late January to serve as the senior vice president of creative and development. So huge creative shakeup with Raw. And considering all of the comedic elements to Raw, to WWE in general, probably couldn't come at a better time, as things definitely need to turn around. Also, we've got the TNA Bound for Glory pay-per-view tomorrow, which I'll have my predictions certain to go wrong coming up in a couple of minutes for that. And in the second segment, my interview with Raw General Manager AJ Lee. That's right, I had the opportunity to speak with her a couple of days ago, just removed from Vince McMahon's State of the WWE address that was interrupted by CM Punk. So we'll get a little bit of her take on how things were going there, as well as how she got started in the business, and some other personal conversation as well. So we've got that to talk about. Sunny. She's been on the show before, and she's run into a bit of trouble as of late. She was arrested twice this past week. WWE Hall of Famer Tammy Sitch, you probably know her better as Sunny, arrested this past Monday. According to TMZ, she violated a restraining order and was involved in an alleged domestic dispute with her ex-boyfriend. She's facing charges of third-degree criminal mischief, disorderly conduct, and violating a protective order on Monday. The Hartford Courant reporting that she was drunk and asleep in her former Branford, Connecticut home when the police arrived on Monday night. And as if that wasn't bad enough, the next day, TMZ reporting that Sitch was arrested again, this time on third-degree burglary and 3 counts of violating a protective order. She's currently being held on $100,000 cash bond. That means she can't go see a bail bondsman and only pay 10% of it. No, it's the full $100,000 after what is now her 5th arrest in the last month. Hopefully she can turn things around. WWE, of course, still sponsoring the rehabilitation for Tammy, and we can only hope that things get better for her. And speaking of hoping that things get a little bit better, more on, we talked about it last week, more on the Hulk Hogan sex tape. The woman in the video is Heather Clem, the now estranged wife of longtime Hogan friend Bubba the Love Sponge Clem. Bubba's presence at the end of the tape, which I did not watch, thankfully, indicates that he recorded the video without Hulk's knowledge, saying, quote, "If we ever did want to retire, all we'd have to do is use this footage." Hogan, of course, responding to questions regarding the sex tape on different media outlets while promoting TNA's Bound for Glory pay-per-view that's tomorrow. Hogan also has filed a criminal police report in hopes of learning who specifically released the sex tape of Hogan and the former wife of Bubba the Love Sponge that was shown on the Gawker.com website. Man, that's just a mess, of course, leading into TNA's biggest pay-per-view of the year, which we're going to get into right now. I've got my predictions certain to go wrong. 8 matches set up on the card. Of course, Al Snow and Joey Ryan. That's something that's been brewing over the course of the last few months with the gut check, bringing up the new talent and whatnot, and of course Joey Ryan kind of making his rejection from it personal with Al Snow, and Ryan signing a contract, a 1-match contract at least, to face Al Snow, who's coming out from backstage and I guess going to show the youngster a little bit, but somehow I think Ryan is going to take this. I don't know what it is. I guess we'll call it ring rust on the part of Al Snow, and that'll more than likely further the feud heading into future pay-per-views. Zema Ion and Rob Van Dam, that's developed from this past Thursday on Impact. That is for the X Division title. Ion's got a lot of momentum. Rob Van Dam's just kind of coasting. And I don't know if necessarily Andy Green has to do with that, but I think Ion's going to hang on to the X Division title for that match tomorrow. Miss Tessmacher and Tara for the Knockouts title. I think Tessmacher is going to hang on there. Actually, I don't have any title changes for this one so far. Samoa Joe and Magnus for the TV title. I think Joe retains in that one. The big street fight, of course. Bobby Roode and James Storm. King Mo is the special enforcer. I think Storm's going to take that one. This is a match that we thought was going to be for the TNA title, but they decided to go in a different direction. Daniels and Kazarian defending the tag titles in a triple threat match against AJ Styles and Kurt Angle, as well as Chavo Guerrero and Hernandez. I think Styles and Angle are going to take this one. They've kind of shown some bits of bickering, and what better way to handle bickering tag team partners, as we've seen in WWE with Daniel Bryan and Kane, than to give them the tag titles. So I think AJ Styles and Kurt Angle, they're going to be your new TNA Tag Team Champions. Aces and Eights against Sting and Bully Ray. I think Aces and Eights are going to win that one. And obviously further things along. Austin Aries and Jeff Hardy for the TNA World Championship. I've been back and forth on this one. I think since TNA seems to, when it comes to delivering that feel-good, good guy moment, they seem to always drop the ball on it. I think they're going to do the same thing again, and Austin Aries will still be your TNA World Heavyweight Champion after the Bound for Glory pay-per-view. Anyway, coming up the rest of this hour, we've got the interview with AJ. That's coming up in the second segment. Third segment, I'm going to save for all your calls, and I've got tickets to this Friday's Raw World Tour event coming to the Sun National Bank Center in Trenton. Let me tell you a little bit about that. 4 different WWE titles to be defended live in Trenton. CM Punk defending the WWE Championship against Ryback. Might that be a preview for Hell in a Cell? Well, it depends on which way Punk's going. We'll find that out by this Monday, but that's going to be a last man standing match. CM Punk against Ryback should be interesting. We'll see if Ryback can be fed more, including the WWE Championship. The tag titles, they're on the line. Kane and Daniel Bryan, Team Hell No against Epico and Primo. Also, you've got Antonio Cesaro defending the United States Championship against Sin Cara, plus all your favorite Raw superstars, including AJ, who we'll be talking to in a little bit, Raw General Manager. You got Santino Marella, Jack Swagger, Brodus Clay, the Funkasaurus, Damian Sandow, David Otunga, Eve, and many more. Tickets, of course, starting at $15. And for more ticket information, you can go to the Sun National Bank Center box office. You can log on to ComcastTix.com, or you can charge by phone 800-298-4200. Or a little bit later in the show, just bring some good, albeit brief conversation, given our time frame here today, and I'll have a pair of tickets for you for the Raw World Tour at the Sun Bank Center this Friday. Anyway, we'll take care of our first bit of business, come back. We'll get all of our calls out of the way in the third segment. Second segment's going to be the interview with AJ. Should be a good one. Heck of a show here on Pro Wrestling Weekly, here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.